Hello and welcome to a tutorial on how to pour walls and pillars and honeycombs. We haven't added any wraps. You might want to add a couple of wraps before this, but the one thing is if you've got a bedrock to skybase and you choose to use sponges at the bottom, make sure you put some cuts in the base, otherwise this 2 block gap hole here is enough for someone to stack straight against either your wraps or your base wall and then upwards. So make sure you've got like an empty box section or something on the bottom, and make sure you've got those cuts in to prevent that. The alternative is to use a slab layout, but to be honest I think sponges are easier and it's just a quicker and easier way of doing it overall. Now with a sponge, if you place a sponge down, it affects a 5x5 area. So this single sponge will affect this entire area. So if this was completely water and I place this sponge down here, this area here would be dry. So you need to bear that in mind when you're doing a layout for the trays. So if we're going to count out, and this is another point as well, and this is a mistake that I've seen so many times. The walls, when they're genned, they're going to be like this. So the walls will be genned and they'll be along this line. Do not make a tray layout where you have sponges here. If you've got a sky base and you leave sponges there, all that's going to happen is someone will happily just come along, stack 10 or so sand there, hybrid, go through to your next wall. It's a very easy raid, and about 6 to 7 hours ago I just did one of those raids. It was about 30 odd walls and they had left sponge in between like that. All I had to do was stack on that, and yeah, God, a couple of yeah, quite a bit of God actually, quite a bit of God, a bit of demigod, and a couple of dubs of TNT, which actually helped pay for our next raid as well, which is great, you know. So thanks to them, but you know, it's a mistake and it's an error that you shouldn't really make. You really shouldn't. Okay, so bearing in mind that the sponge affects a 5x5 area, means 1, 2, 3, 4. Place a sponge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, place a sponge. So you've got a 4 block gap in between. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place a sponge. And you can see it's nice and even. So the wall is going to be along this line. And the next one, you don't need to place any sponges. Next one here, place sponges. Okay, so that's a 3 block gap, which is plenty. And if you are doing a platform out of cobblestone, best and quickest way to do it, because you're going to have to break it afterwards anyway, is have one single line going along the side of the walls and doing it straight across like that. If you make lines going across your base like so, what you're going to have, like this, underneath the walls, what you're going to have to do afterwards is come along and break every single line. There's no point in that. All you're doing is wasting your playing time. That's all you're doing. So if you place it lengthways like this, then you can just leave them there. You won't need to move them. Okay, so bear that in mind. And done. Now the one thing I do like to do is, because we've got some pillars that we're going to be doing as well, I'm going to be doing the sponges for the pillars as well. Okay, now you can literally just do a line. Okay, so you could do a 3 block gap, a line. Okay, because there's going to be pillars that go there, pillars that go there, pillars that go there, pillars that go there. You know, so as long as the sponge is underneath, so you're looking at a 3 block gap and then a sponge, 3 block gap and then a sponge, like that. Now the way we have done it recently, it's not exactly recommended because it takes ages, but when you're underneath the base, it looks really cool. Okay, so this is one way we have been doing it. It's kind of just for fun, to be absolutely honest. So that's the kind of way we'll be doing it, but we'll do it the straightforward way this time. So 1, 2, 3, block, 1, 2, 3, block, 1, 2, 3, block, 2, 3, block. And ideally what you want to do is make it in line with the walls. So the amount of walls that you pour the same amount of pillars as a box section. It's always worth checking, so once you've done the layout, or once you even start it, just make sure. So we're going to have pillars here, there's going to be a pillar there, going to be a pillar there, pillar will go there, pillar will go there. See, everything's in line, so I know when we do pour the pillars, all the pillars are going to be made perfectly, and there's not going to be any sponge that's going to be in the way so people can stack against it. Okay, we're going to do this side as well, because what I'll do is on one side I'll do the normal pillars, and then on this side I will be doing the honeycomb pillars, so I'll show you how to do those as well. There's a really quick way of doing it. I've seen people completely hash up doing the pillars and taking so long about it, just the way they've done a layout. So I'm hoping this will help a lot of people, to be honest. There we go. So we're going to say this is 255. So obviously at 255 you won't be able to place blocks at 256, and the top of the base will be watered, but we won't do that just yet because we want to create these walls first. Now this is how I do the layout. I do it with dirt, and I do it with dirt for a reason. I know it costs money, and sometimes early on map you might want to do netherrack, but personally if you use dirt it's very quick and easy to destroy and break when you need to, which is why I use it for the framework. And second of all, if you're using a shovel, you won't accidentally break some of the cobblestone as you're going along and breaking it, okay? So you won't end up having to place extra blocks. All it is about saving time. That's what it comes down to. Okay, so we're going to make a line going out. You want to try and limit the amount of framework that you do. Okay, so we only do what we need to do. Nothing extra. And if you look at this and you find out there's a few lines that don't need to be placed, don't place the lines, you know. But this is my preferred way of doing it. Okay, so this line that I've made here, what we're going to be doing is placing lava underneath. When you place lava underneath, the lava will flow this side and it will flow this side. This is where the wall will be genned, this is where the wall will be genned. So you just want to make sure you've got this space here will be water, then this is where the wall will be genned. Then you count 3 blocks, and on the 4th one you do the next set of walls. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and we'll do this one as well. There we go. One thing I do find useful on this one, we're doing these layouts, stick speed 2 on and you'll find it goes so much quicker. Okay, so we've got that part in place. That's part of the structure for the standard walls. This line here, as you can see, is one off the base. Okay, and this side as well needs to be one off the base as well. Let's change that. Didn't quite make it far enough. There we go. And Optifine really helps. And while you're doing the base building process, you want to have like 32 render distance. You may not be able to get it. Maybe change some of the settings down or something like that. But if you can get 32 and you can look down and see where the sponge and everything is, then you know it's like a double checking process. Then you know you're doing it correctly. Okay. The one other thing that we need to add. Now I've started this particular thing, this part of the layout. I've started building to one side because I found it a lot easier doing a single line to one side while I'm making the framework, so I can run backwards and forwards, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, so we're going to get the first line there, go into the middle of the first line and the second line, so the middle block there, and then go all the way across. And this one only needs to come up to where the base line is there, okay? Only needs to go up to there. Place one block on the end of that, one block on the end of that. That's just stop when we put lava, stop the lava going down that line. Now you don't need to place a line on this one, don't need to, because that line that I've just placed there, that platform, that's enough to do those two. So we move on to the next two instead. And this is the reason why I've started building it one block out, because as soon as you place these on the end, if you've got the platform going underneath that, it's a real pain because you'll have to break it, walk through it, and make sure you place it back. So instead of constantly doing that, platform next to it, and you can just run it. Let's place the blocks on the end of this one, and done. And that is your framework. Completely done for the walls. Now we're going to pour the lava, okay? So with Woodycraft as well, stackable buckets, some other faction servers have stackable buckets as well. All you need to do is go to the nether, set a home there. If you've got slash back, then just slash back or go to the home, backwards and forwards, and just keep placing the lava. But I mean, you can fill up your whole inventory. Now that we've got stackable buckets, you can fill up your whole inventory with stackable buckets and just go backwards and forwards and then place all the lava that you need to. So we're doing the first line there, and do the second one like that. And when you come back, as you're here, destroy the dirt going across. And this is where the minimap comes in very useful. If you've got a minimap up, you can see on the top right hand corner, I can see exactly where I am, so I know when I'm coming to the edge. So it should save you from a few unwanted deaths. Right, do these ones. And done. One thing you want to check is just run along and make sure you have destroyed all the dirt blocks. If you're worried, sometimes it is worth like going /lobby and then coming back to the faction server just to make sure that there's no invisible blocks. But on a general basis, because it's dirt, it generally doesn't happen. Can also be worth going just down the bottom, making sure all the lava has come down. Okay, you need to make sure all the lava has poured down before you gen, because after you gen, if all the lava hasn't fallen, you're going to run into problems, you know, and you're going to have to manually fix stuff, and that's a situation you don't want to be in because it's a pain. Okay, next part is watering. Obviously 256 you can actually place water, so I'm going to place one there, place one there, and we're going to place one there as well. Now the bigger the wall, the more buckets you're going to have to place, but it's straightforward. Again, stackable buckets, nice and easy, so you know, it doesn't take long. One thing to watch out for is when you place a bucket, obviously the water only travels 8 blocks from the source. So you've got the source, including the source block. So you've got the source block, and then you've got another, you've got 8 total, or 7 in length. If you place some water like this, and it should do it. Yeah, there we go. You see, you've got the water, it shows on the top there's water there, but the water doesn't pour down the side. At the 7th block it does, on the 8th block it doesn't. So you need to make sure that when you do the other water bucket, or you place the other water, you make sure it does actually start generating the wall. Okay, so sometimes it's worth placing a few more buckets just to make sure that it's genning the full amount of the wall rather than just part of it. Okay, so that's just genned. Just going to go again, go down the bottom. Look at the bottom, look around, and make sure that they have been genned. Sometimes you'll find a little vein or something that's still genning. You're going to need to AFK the wall, have an alt there or something to wait there until it finishes genning. Okay? So again, if you don't wait, then you're going to be manually doing stuff, and the whole idea of genning walls is that you don't have to manually do stuff. Now here, we're ready to get rid of the water and also the lava. Easiest way to do it, you can take a water bucket. It's a single bucket, that's all you need. The first time you click it, you'll be placing the water. The second time you click it, you'll be emptying the water. You end up with a full water bucket. I can't quite show you it on this, but all you're doing is one water bucket, placing, picking up. Okay, so all you're doing is pressing it twice and you pick it up. And done. That's water gone. Now what we're going to do is get rid of the lava. Now this is the way I kind of prefer doing it. Or at least it's the quickest way. Quickest way I found. No! Spoke a block. There you go, that's lucky. See, if I was using a pickaxe and I was breaking stuff with a pickaxe across the top, yeah, it's yeah, that could have happened, you know. But in reality, if we were on a faction server now and I was using a shovel, that wouldn't have even happened. So that again is one of the reasons why I used it. Now for this, the quickest and easiest way that I found of doing it is sand. So because this is a sky base, it's slightly different when you're doing a bedrock to sky, but at the same time, if you're using sponges, same thing to be honest. What you do is go along the wall, placing sand. Nice and easy. Now some pouring methods, they do gen it completely up to 255. So you won't end up in a position that we are in now where we need to place block. However, I think it's worth placing the extra block. My thinking behind it is if someone's going to be cannoning you, okay, we've done cannoning where we've used only gravel, and we've only used gravel because the top of people's walls have been cobblestone, for example. So that's why we've used the gravel. And on the minimap, it doesn't always show up that there's a stack. Well, it's not always really clear that there's a stack of gravel there. So you may not notice that you are actually being cannoned. So if you use a kind of block on the top that on your minimap shows up compared to say like a sand stack or a gravel stack, I think the extra time of just placing a few blocks across the top is worth it, you know. So when you log on, you look at your minimap and you'll be actually be able to see if someone's actually cannoning you. So for me, to be honest, I think it helps the checking process to see if you are actually being cannoned. So preferably myself, that's why I've stuck with this kind of method, because one, it's quick, two, it's fairly simple, and three, you can add the additional line on the top to see if you're being cannoned via your minimap. And done. The one extra thing that I do as well, always, is obviously at 255 you can just go ham and click and click and click, but because this is below 255 it places the extra block, but you can literally just go along the wall, placing, and it'll just place the dirt block in there. You'll find out why I placed dirt here soon enough. Hopefully this platform will get rid of as well. Again, this is just really easy. I mean, it's taken me a couple of seconds to do it with my hand now, but honestly, when you have a shovel, especially like an efficiency 4 shovel, it is really quick and easy. You know, it does not take long at all. Alright, so this side, we've already done walls, for example. Now we're going to just be doing the pillars. So this side we're going to do normal pillars. This side we'll do the honeycomb pillars, and I'll show you the quickest and easiest way that I found of doing it. Okay, so I skipped ahead a little bit and may have used a little bit of World Edit to get that completed. What I did do was I did exactly the same on both sides. So I've done the same on this. This side is exactly the same layout as this side. This side will of course still be normal pillars. This one will be honeycomb. So first of all, we're going to do normal pillars. So what it's going to do is the pillar needs to be genned here and here, which is in line with this wall, and it'll be in line with that wall. So we're going to be pouring the lava here. Okay, and it's every fourth block. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What you're doing is, as soon as you place the lava, what you'll see is it will go out one block in each direction, and then you need to have that space. That's where we're going to be pouring the water. Like so. And we're just going to bring this up by 1 so it keeps the water nice and tidy when we place it on the end. Let's just extend these by 1. Like so. And what I do find easy, if you get really bad FPS while you're doing this process, you need to be quite careful, but if your FPS is fairly decent, you're not going to lag too much. It is worth having in your inventory an empty bucket. So if you accidentally place lava, you can fairly quickly get rid of it. On this particular server, the lava flows really quickly. Oh, I'm going to have to get rid of that. Flows really quickly. So, but on like Woodcraft and some of the other faction servers, it doesn't flow that quickly, and you'll have enough time to pick up the lava before it does any damage that you'll have to fix. So just going to run across and place. Okay, now that we've got that done, we need to gen the pillars. Okay, if you're really bad on FPS at this point, you need to be careful where you place this water. If you place it in the wrong place, then what's going to happen is the water will combine, it will turn the top block into obsidian, and it gives you potentially it will cheese your pillars, which you don't want. So do take your time about this if you need to. Otherwise, get on something like Client or something along those lines. 1.8 shouldn't give you too much FPS lag or anything like that. So yeah, alright, let's get started. And there we go. So we placed the water in between, making sure we didn't update the water in the wrong place, or place the water in the wrong place, because the second you do, all it's going to do is some of this water will combine and you end up with obsidian blocks. Isn't too much of a problem if the pillar has already genned, but it can be a serious pain in the ass. So yeah, avoid it where possible. Now to clear the lava, you can do it in a couple of ways. I mean, if you want to pick the lava back up, you can do, because I mean we're going to be going over to the other side anyway, so it could be worth picking them up for that. That's entirely up to you. I've noticed messy water. Ah, look, I didn't extend the layout far enough. My fault. See, the layout should have come out to there. It's not too much of a problem though. We're going to be draining the water anyway, so overall it's no big problem, to be absolutely honest. Now what we're going to do is drain them, but at the same time we're going to be placing dirt blocks, and we're going to be placing dirt blocks because of something we're going to be doing, which I will show you very shortly. But for the time being, leave the water in place. You don't need to drain the water yet. Don't do it, because we're going to be using this water to update the water across the entire thing. So leave the water in place. And now we're going to head over to the ones that will be honeycombs. Same process again. Okay, so you want to gen them exactly the same to begin with, and then after that we're going to be doing something slightly different. Okay, now we're at the point of genning them. again, just like the other ones, do exactly the same process. And there we go. So at the moment we've got gem pillars this side, the lava should have drained. Again, it's always worth checking. Go down the bottom, make sure that lava has drained. Because if the lava has not drained, it's not good. You need to wait for the lava to drain. Now that we've got the water, got rid of the water, switch over and get some sand. And what we're going to be doing is getting rid of some of this lava. Okay, this one leave in place. Okay, so the first one, so you've got the wall here, block, lava, leave that one in place. But every other one from that point on, stick some sand down and get rid of it. Now the layout lines were going in this direction. Now we're going to make them go in this direction. So we're going to run along, breaking these blocks. Same along this line as well. Okay, there's no lava on this line yet, that's the lava we're going to be placing. And that would have been my first F. Okay, so we've just poured the remaining of the lava in a different direction this time. So if you remember, we had the layout going that way, and that's how we poured it. Now that we've destroyed the layout, we're now pouring and making the lava go that way instead. Okay, and that's what you need to do. Now we just need to gen them again. So I've broken the extra block here because obviously the lava goes there and we need to place the water. So now we're going to gen these. And there we go. Now you've got a pretty pattern. Kind of looks like a, I don't know, checkers board, chessboard, whatever you want to call it. And this is all at 255, so you won't need to place any additional blocks on top. The pillars are annoying when placing new blocks on top. It can still be worth doing, but it's entirely up to you on that one. On the walls, there's always a certain amount of them, say 100 walls going out or 160 or whatever it is going out. But the pillars, because there's such a larger area of the pillars being placed, it can become more of a pain placing the tops on them. So personally, I think it is actually worth just genning them all the way up to 255 instead. Right, next thing is we're going to need to get rid of the lava, but at the same time we're going to create a complete platform across the top like we've done on there. So all the lava parts, all the lava, place dirt on all the way along. And done. Easy as that. So now that we've done that, again, just a reminder, always go down the bottom and make sure it's done. Okay? If you're on a render distance of 32, you can pretty much go down to land level or even bedrock, look up, and you will be able to see the difference. You'll be able to see any lava that's there. You can see some of it's watered already, but that itself is also going to be drained as we update the blocks. The first thing before updating the blocks, I always go around the outside, always, just to make sure that it's going to be nice, neat and tidy, because if it's not nice and neat and tidy, it can restrict things that you do after this, so additional walls and things like that. It can cause it, cause you to take a bit more time about it. These particular blocks here, I break them in. I break them also, so when the water is poured, I know there's like a little area where you could put TNT at a diagonal, at a diagonal it will still affect the pillar, but at the same time, if you're going to be adding more walls on this particular base, it's just easier in the long run if you just get rid of those blocks. Now these ones here, actually I'm going to get rid of this water. Make a lot more sense getting rid of it, to be honest. It's messy on the front, and messy is not what we want. So let's start off with these ones. All you need to do is place a dirt block there. Just run along, placing a dirt block, and you'll instantly see it starts updating. Like so, okay? And if you work along, you end up going across parts that aren't watered yet. And obviously much quicker. Go. Head over this side, do the same again. Okay, now we're at this point. So we've got water across the top, but not tons. No water across the top of this. And no water across the top of this. But we've updated all the dirt blocks. Now it's a case of just updating it. That's all you're going to need to do. A few buckets. Go. Place one bucket and it just updated all of that. And now because it's become a constant source, all you're going to need is a bucket, pick up, and then place again. So you can literally do the rest of this process with just one bucket. I don't know what it is, but that just looks really nice. So there you go, you've got honeycomb that side, normal pillars that side, and walls. Then all you need to do, no, that's breaking really quickly. All you need to do now is just go along breaking the dirt, and all the water will then drop. That's it, and done. So all the water has dropped down, got rid of all the dirt. At the bottom you've got a funky layout with the sand, but you shouldn't have all the sand that you've placed to get rid of any of the lava. That should be down on land level or down at bedrock, okay? Especially if this is a sky base. It should not have landed on any sponge. If it's landed on any sponge, you've got a problem, and you need to go back and check it and find out where the error was made. Just update this. There we go, done. So this side, standard pillars, you know, straight through, normal walls, and honeycomb layout. And obviously you would have normal walls going across as well. So it's up to you the way you want to do it. But this is by far the easiest way that I've found to do it so far. I'm always like changing it around a little bit, but by far nice, simple, and does the job. And the amount of errors made through this is fairly minimal. You know, as long as you're careful where you place your blocks, as long as you're careful where you place your buckets and everything, you should be absolutely fine. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial video. Hope it's of help to you as well. And yeah, take it easy.